Sometimes you have dreary days when everything is dark, muddy, and you just want to stay inside and play a board game. But sometimes you have wonderful days when you feel full of energy and invigorated and really want to go outside and have an adventure. Do you think it's gonna rain? I think it's gonna rain. Maybe I shouldn't go anywhere. I'll just stay inside. I think it's gonna rain. Look, Indiana Jones didn't really wear a top hat. He wore a fedora, and his leather jacket wasn't quite like this bikery Angels of Death kind of thing. And that perfectly illustrates that there is a right tool for the right job. And no pun included, we tend to review games that are a little bit meatier, chunkier, heavier, and we very rarely look at something that's very light. But you know what? Not every game evening needs a heavy game. Not every game evening needs to start off with Mombasa. And that's why Archaeologist is the perfect tool for a filler game. Judging by the box alone, Archaeology, and I got the name right this time, promises to be a really exciting game. It says that we can explore pyramids, mines, tombs, and more to get our hands on precious treasure. But what it actually is a set collection game. Actually very similar to Ticket to Ride, surprisingly, but very much compact and condensed, and there are no trains whatsoever. But it is essentially a set collection game with push your luck elements, as in, am I going to collect this set of cards before my hand gets completely devastated? And your hand, when you get dealt it first, might consist of something awesome like a pharaoh's mask or a talisman, which are worth a lot, and if you manage to get a lot of these, you'll score a lot of points. Or it might be a bit more like a hand like this, where you just get 4 scraps of parchment that are completely useless. But hey, do you know what? If you trade in all 4 of them, you'll get 10 points, and that just might be enough. Archaeology plays at breakneck speed because all you're doing in a turn is drawing a card, doing an action, and your turn is done. Just like that. At the start of any game of Archaeology, you'll fill out this marketplace area with exactly 5 cards. Now, the reason those 5 cards are there is to help you trade and foster an economy and actually swap cards in a kind of roundabout way with other players. You see, you will have cards in your hand that have different values. They might be 1s, 2s, 3s, or even 4s, which are probably the best ones. And you can then trade these cards freely with the marketplace as long as the value matches up, or the value that the cards you've taken is lower than the ones you've put into the marketplace. So I could, for example, take this talisman, which is worth 3, and trade it with a broken cup and a parchment scrap and put them into my hand. But the cool thing happens is that this is, like I mentioned, a set collection game, and I have just collected a full set of broken cups, and I can immediately put these cards aside, scoring me 12 points. Nothing can ever take those 12 points away from me. And different cards have different set collection values. So for example, if you're collecting pot shards, which are completely rubbish, you will get 1 point for just a set of 1, 2 points for a set of 2, 3 points for a set of 3, 4 points for a set of 4, or 15 for a set of 5. That means, yeah, pot shards are cheap, and you're not getting a lot for them unless you've actually collected 5. And when you do, you can trade them in for 15. So what's stopping you from just collecting all the pot shards? So let's say you've been collecting parchment scraps and you have 3, and all you need to make 10 points is a set of 4. Now, you know that any draw will get you that 4th parchment scrap because someone left one in the marketplace, and you can simply trade for it. Any draw will do, right? And then, full of excitement, you reveal the next card, and it's a sandstorm. See, what happens during a sandstorm is you're busted. You lose everything. this isn't the only thing that can muck up your plans. While the sandstorm affects absolutely everyone on the table and forces them to discard half of what they're possessing, there is another card that can enter the fray not on your turn, and that would be the thief. So if you've been holding a hand of completely amazing things, just not wanting to let go and not wanting to trade it away for some broken cups or whatever, in comes the thief. So whenever anyone draws a thief card, they are able to steal one random card from another player of their choice. So if someone else has a whiff of what treasures you're holding, you better believe they're going to steal something from you. The last thing you need to know about archaeology is these map cards. Actually, there's two things, and we'll cover the other thing in just a bit. Now, map cards function slightly differently. First of all, they do have a value, and that is free, and it's pretty high. But unlike other cards, they are meant to be collected not to be turned in as sets, but to take one of these piles of treasure. Now, at the start of the game, you'll choose one of these dig sites, and there are 6 different dig sites, and they all follow slightly different rules, but all of them will have treasure piles. Now, treasure piles in this particular setup with the Great Pyramid, there are 3 of them, and they're in varying size. This has 2 cards, this has 5 cards, and this has 8 cards. And to take this 2 card pile, you only need this 1 map card. To take the 5 card pile, you need to spend 2 map cards, and so on. So as you can imagine, everybody is going to be trying to collect these map cards and turn them in for a huge pile of stuff that can later either be spent on picking up whatever you want or just made into sets of their own things. And you never know what you're going to get with these. They can be entirely amazing or again composed of parchment scraps. And that's pretty much it. That's all you need to know about the game, aside maybe from tents. You each have a tent, and you only have 1 tent, and you only have 1 tent during the course of the game. And whenever a sandstorm hits, you can spend your tent card, and you don't have to discard any of the cards. And that's it. That's the game of archaeology. It plays at breakneck speed, it's full of laughter, and you never know what's going to happen. You might think that the game is a little bit random, and you wouldn't be wrong, but for the length that it takes, it's completely fine. And actually, some of the randomness is part of the fun. The part of the fun of the game is that you never know what you're going to draw. You never know whether your opponent is going to draw a thief. You never know when a sandstorm is going to hit you. So you never know really what to do. And that's where the decision making in the game comes. Do I just start collecting parchment scraps like crazy? Do I just turn in these 2 broken cups, or rather go for coins which have the same value but potentially give you a lot more if you have a lot more of them? Or do I collect treasures? All these things are running through your head constantly. But for me, I felt like actually the decisions, well, they didn't feel that deep. There's a certain element in the game where you're going, actually, do you know what, I'm just not going to risk it. And then you get the cheapest thing that you can, turn it in, score some points, and rinse and repeat. And if you do that, it is entirely likely that another player will simply swoop in, get all the expensive stuff, and then they'll probably win. Which is fine. You make your own path in archaeology, and that path is going to be dictated by the whims of fate. And once again, that's completely fine. These 10 cards and sandstorm cards and thief cards, they don't work very well with 2 players simply because it doesn't affect the game as much as it should. I think the game is designed to be played with more players, and it's more varied, it's more dynamic, more things happen in the market all the time, especially since because every time the sandstorm does hit you, the cards that get discarded, they don't get discarded to a discard pile, they get discarded to a market, and other players are then able to pick them up. And it's just a lot more satisfying when there are more players and more things happening in the market and more exchanges going on. I enjoy that a lot more. And the other problem with the game is that you can't find it anywhere. The hype for this game completely exploded, and it's sold out within moments, and that's it. In online shops, BGG Marketplace, retail stores, it's gone everywhere. And I just don't think it's worth, I was going to say it's not worth digging for, but then I remembered the name of our channel, because digging and archaeology is a pun. So yeah, I enjoyed my time with archaeology. It's perfectly alright. I would compare it to a BLT sandwich from a supermarket. All the right ingredients are there. It's small, compact, and it looks okay. But it's just not, it doesn't have the punch. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have that crispy bacon. Blah. So I guess to sum it up, I'm just going to keep it just like this game. Very, very short, and say, if you can find it for the price, yeah, it's a pretty good filler. And if someone has it, you'll probably enjoy yourself playing it. But don't go out of your way to get Archaeology. It's okay. And I liked it.
My mama cooks in Italy, mama swims in Argentina, mama's got a chunga, yeah. My mama's works in Venezuela, mama likes